Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Turn Back the Clock. Another episode here with my friend Adam, Splendid Sports. Adam, how's it going today?
Pretty good, man. Hey, Dylan, I just realized when we jumped on here, I'm getting paler and you're getting tanner. I think since I moved back to the Northeast, I was used to having a little bit of a tan, living in Arizona before. Now I'm looking at myself, I'm looking more pale here as the weather's getting cooler in the Northeast. So I got to get used to that.
Well, you must be getting ultra pale because I haven't surfed in 34 days. The longest stretch of not surfing for me in at least 8 years since I blew my knee out. So I haven't been at the beach. I've been staying clear because it's kind of heartbreaking to go to the ocean and I can't even swim right now anyways. So yeah, you must be getting real pale because I'm pretty pale for myself. So
That's it. We're into October here. It's been good weather back here though. But I just don't get as much sun as I used to these days. So wait, before we get started, is there any timetable on when you can go surfing again, or is it just like to be determined?
To be determined. My
Okay.
muscle doesn't work on my right side. None of this works, and it's in a lot of pain. So to be determined. Pinch nerve. So yeah. All right. So tonight, guys, we got some fun topics to talk about and some cards to share. I'm going to give you guys the list of the rundown of what we're going to be talking about so you guys can look forward to what's coming. So the first thing we're going to do is Adam's going to show some cards that either were pickups or cards that he's really just been focusing on and looking at, or cards he's never shared, because I know he's not really picking up cards. So I just wanted to talk to him about what he's been, because some of us, we spend time in certain binders more than others or looking at certain cards. So that's round one. I'm going to share some cards, some pickups that I've been focusing on. And then the third round is kind of the big one. And we're going to talk about eye appeal stickers. Has the price gone too far for the gold stickers? Has it not gone far enough? Is there more room to run? We're going to really dive into that topic because it's one that's really close to my heart because of the whole eye appeal thing I've been going on in the last 3 years and the centering thing. And that's all inclusive. So I really am excited to talk about this. I know this, we talk about eye appeal a lot, but this is going to be a little different. This is going to be a lot of value-based eye appeal versus, what's going on right now, the whole movement with these stickers. I'm excited to talk about. And then the final round, if we get to it, if we have time, it's going to be what really grinds my gears. So Adam will have a take at it, whether it's a rant or just something that's been bothering him, something in the hobby that he's been on his brain, and I'm going to likewise do one. We'll keep them to a minimum, but have some fun with it. Shout out to, Tony, Southern Collector, and Mike. They do this at the end. They always do one. And I've always wanted to do what really grinds my gear from the Family Guy episode for years, but I've never had the heart to really lay into it. But I think we're gonna have fun with this one. So let's dive right in. Adam, what have you been up to with the card collecting world right now?
Yeah. So I mentioned before to you that I was taking a break, and I've stuck to that. Now, I do have some big pickups I've never shown, but I promise these were picked up before I took my break, right? So you know how I go. I'll pick up like big cards, but I'll just let them sit for a while without showing anyone or saying anything. I just kind of want to keep it to myself. And then at some point in the future, I like to show what I picked up. But so these are massive pickups for me, like big pickups, 2 of them. And I haven't shown them out here on YouTube. So they were picked up before. I think when I started taking my break, it was like maybe July, or I don't know, end of July or something like that. So it's been a couple months, but I haven't bought anything big, and I don't plan to for the rest of the year, at least, So let me show the first one now.
Well, put yourself on big screen so I can see it up close.
Sorry, I got to take it out of it's in the little plastic thing here. I'm going to take it out. There we go. Yeah, I'll put it on solo here. All right. So as you know, I like to collect Tom Brady cards. I did a run where I have all 44 of his base rookie cards, so was happy to complete that. But I always had to stop my head, like, I'll never have his best card, right? Because it's Tom Brady, and it's kind of like Michael Jordan or even, some of these other GOATs in the hobby. Their cards are so expensive that you never really get their best card. But I think I was able to get Tom Brady's best football card. It's not a rookie card, but it is the 2002 Topps, his first ever game used relic card, autograph card. And this is is auto right there. It's hand numbered for those listening, hand numbered to 150. So there's 150 of them. And it's on card auto, pack pulled. And it's the coolest part to me is it's got an authentic game use football from his first Super Bowl, the 2002 Super Bowl 36. And you can see the Wilson of the football there.
Dude.
Again, I think this is Tom Brady's best card. It's by no means his most expensive card. He's got cards that would go for $1 million or more. You know, he's got one of one rookie cards. But I think when you're saying a player's best card, it doesn't always mean the rarest card or even the most expensive card. And in this case, I think this is his best card because even though his rookie year was the year 2000, Topps never made cards of his until 2002. He didn't have any Topps cards from 2000 or 2001. So, I mean, it's Topps. It's the brand, first year of Topps. It's his first game-used relic card. And the game that it was from, it was his – he played for 20-something seasons. This was his, second season in the league, but the first he really played. And this was his most important game, the first Super Bowl. So, wow. I mean, a game-used ball from the Super Bowl, his first Super Bowl, the most important game, autograph, I think it's his best card. Some people would disagree. You feel free to disagree in the comments. I know he's got some big rookie cards, but I think when you factor everything in, this is his best card. So I was able to pick this up. I forget what month, but it was back before I took the break. And this was one of the reasons I took a break is because I went heavy. So
hold on, don't move past that card. I got some thoughts.
Yeah,
dude. I think I love the fact.
Hold on, let me put it back. There we go. Sorry.
I love that you say that's his best card because I 100% agree. I think there's a big difference between vintage cards and modern cards. I think the modern hobby, the modern cards, it's the rookie cards to me aren't always the main focus. Mm-hmm. And I really love that. Where vintage, the rookie card's the main focus because there's not as many and it's the first one. And when you find guys' cards through the years on modern, man, you can have one in the middle of his career that just shines beyond the other one, just looks incredibly better. But for that card in particular, I think being the first of its kind, the very first, you say, I guess, it's not a jersey card, but relic card.
Yep.
To be
and auto.
And first auto too?
First, not his first auto card. He's got some of those in his rookie year, but it's his first auto relic card.
First auto relic card. Now that to me rings a bell, and I don't think that. I think the future of card that's going to be a really big sticking point. I know a lot of guys are already into that, like Shane Shoebox Legends. He loves the first of parallels, and when they have a long tradition, 2001 Topps being numbered to 2001. I think that goes a long way. I think that's an incredible card, Adam. I'm not a football guy, but I really get fired up and I get passionate when guys like you share their football cards and they talk about things like that. And I think that's a monumental card. I think you did well right there.
I think it's again, I bought it with the long-term collecting thing, right? Like someday we're going to sell maybe all of our cards, at least some of our cards. I hope to hold this as long as I hold my collection. But I feel like this is a card that when I do sell it someday, if I ever sell it, I think it could be worth a lot more than I paid for it. I think it's one of those cards. So I saw, not only did I want it for the collection, but I also saw it as something that was a good buy, I think. And I could see it going up a lot in the future. So it could be a good investment too.
If that wasn't in the slab, would you touch that football?
Of course. Yeah. And actually I had it. So he has another card from 2004, I think, that I have, where it's a game used football from the same game. So, but no autograph. So it was like a couple years later from Don Russ, and I had it, and it was in a what was it, SGC slab or something like that. When I bought it, I cracked it out, and I felt the football.
Yes, yeah. I would too. That's huge.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to touch a football from that game. It's funny. I posted this on Instagram. And there's a guy on Instagram called Patrick Ryan, P Ryan Collection. He has a big collection. He's a heavy collector. And he has a copy of this card too. And he agreed that it's his best card, Tom Brady's best card. But one of the things he mentioned, and I didn't really think too much about it, I like the design on the card, just the red, white, and blue in the background and everything. But what he mentioned is it's like a post 9/11. This game, 2002, it was like a few months after 9/11, like 4 months or 5 months. In the Patriots after 9/11, it was like a very symbolic thing. And that Super Bowl, they designed that whole Super Bowl to be very like patriotic and everything based on 9/11. And U2 played halftime of the Super Bowl. It was just like, it was a very meaningful game for a lot of reasons, for not only the Patriots, but just kind of a different vibe at that game. And the New England sports scene changed forever after this game too. I'm talking, I'm one of those people who believes the Red Sox never would have won the World Series in 2004, a couple of years later, if the Patriots didn't win this game. I'm telling you that the whole area was just negative, right? Like we hadn't won anything in forever. Everyone always expected something bad to happen or nothing good to happen. And this game changed the whole mindset. I'm telling you, everyone all of a sudden was like positive, think, oh, we can win, we can do it, and Tom Brady was the reason for that. I believe he was the biggest reason. And after that, next thing you know, the Red Sox win and they keep winning, and the Celtics win again, and the Bruins and the Patriots win 5 more Super Bowls. So it changed everything, this game. So for me, it was just, I had to go for it. I had to get this one. And yeah, so happy to get that card, man. But I'll let you go now.
No, I want to see your next one.
You wanted me to go again? Okay.
Yeah, go again.
All right. Well, I'll just do this quick, but I'm not going to go solo because everyone's seen this card, right? This is the 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle base card. I was looking at this card, to your question, like, I feel like this is a Mickey Mantle card that doesn't get as much publicity as some of the other ones. I don't see this that much, like people showing it off and stuff like that. And I've always loved it. This is one of my favorite Mantle cards. I just love the design. I just always love this card, the colors, the logo.
Put yourself solo, Adam.
About.
I want to see that centered beauty.
All right, I will. It's pretty centered. It's a good grade, but not the most centered, but it's good. It's a good one. I don't know.
It really does. The colors on that, it just screams Mickey Mantle and New York Yankees. And yeah,
the 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle. I personally, that's one of my favorites. And again, it's not the one you see when people pick up a mantle. You don't see the 60 Topps that much, but for me, it's always been one of my favorite designs. So I've been thinking about that card lately. I wanted to show that one. And then the last one, again, this was picked up before I took my break. This was one of the last ones I picked up. And again, a card I've wanted for years. And it is the 1967 Sandy Koufax Retorado. And let me tell you something. I was not planning on getting this card yet. It was one of the cards that I had on my long-term list. But when I saw this copy pop up, it's a 1.5 SGC for those listening. It is one of the nicest fronts that I've ever seen in my life. It's centered. There's no paper loss. The colors are just fantastic. It was like the perfect copy for me. And I just said, I got to get this one, because if I'm going to get this card, this is the one I'm getting. Now on the back, because it's got a little paper loss, it's a 1.5. These were in albums in Venezuela. But I said, I'm getting this one. So I finally added this card to the collection. And I have to mention James Elite Hunters, because when I started doing my 3-and-3 series, he was one of I think he was maybe the 4th or 5th one that I did it with. And this was one of his cards on the list. And I honestly did not even know about this card before he came on my channel. And right when I saw it, in my head, I said, I'm getting that someday. I'm getting that card. It's the coolest photo I've ever seen on a pitcher card. He's got his hand wrapped around the ball. Just amazing. So that was at least a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, when he did that, when James came on my show. And here we are. I finally got it. So that's a major pickup for me. And I guess you could say it might be again, here's an interesting question. Do you consider like this Sandy Koufax's best card, or is it his rookie card? Even though there's like less than 100 of these that are known, but there's a lot more his rookie card. What would you say is a better card? What's his best card?
I mean, dude, you're talking to the rookie card machine here.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I can't get past his rookie card. I think
Right.
It's just absolutely beautiful. I can't get past that. And now, is that card incredible? Would I trade a rookie card for that? Yes, because the value and the look of it's outstanding. But my brain can't separate the Topps rookie cards from anything else beating them. So
yeah, because
that's my
the
problem.
best card doesn't always mean it's the rarest card of the person's card, right? So I would agree with you. I think if someone said, "What's his best card?" It's his rookie card, but maybe my favorite card is this one here.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Out of the 3 cards you shared, if you were to let me have any one of those cards, I would take that Tom Brady. The story he told and the way it presents and the football on there, like having a used football from that game.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't even like football. Like I barely even know what football is. I would choose that card out of all of them. I think it's really sick to have on my wall, and then like my nieces and nephews come over, that would blow their freaking little kids' brains off their skull. I just think that's really sick. As much as I love Mantle and Koufax, but those are some bangers at them.
Those are some big ones for me. So now you understand more of why I've been saying I need to take a break, and I am taking a break because I had some major pickups earlier in the year. So that's why. Now you probably understand it a little better.
Yeah, you dropped the hammer for sure.
I dropped the hammer, man. I went for it, and now I'm just coasting now. I'm coasting.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. I'll show you guys just a couple of pickups, and then we're going to go head into the topic of the night. So if you guys follow my YouTube channel at all, I've been really going after Japanese vintage baseball cards of some of my favorite players, Hiramoto and Shigeo. But I've also am obsessed with certain sets. And this set right here, 1961 JGA 21 Shonen Magazine playing cards. This is Katsuya Nomura. And I've been picking up some of these cards when they pop up from my buddy Robert, Prestige Auctions. He has a Whatnot show, and every Tuesday and Saturday he's selling vintage Japanese baseball cards. And this is my favorite set. And he had, I think, 4 different ones that I didn't know, existed to begin with because I never really looked up the checklist or anything. But this guy is number 2 all-time home run leader in Japan with 657 behind Sadahara O.
Wow.
This card is epic to begin with. But what really blew my mind is that I have a card in my collection, and I shared this on my channel, so forgive me if you've watched my channel, but nobody watched that video anyways. So I'm going to share it again. I have this 1973 Calby card, which 1973 Calby is the very first Calby set that they put out in Japan. And these cards came in packs of potato chips and I believe other food products as well. And they came 1 card per pack. And the set's massive, like 800 cards. Well, this card I bought it wasn't an auction. It was after the fact. But I had this in my collection, okay? And what I didn't know was this guy playing catcher here. This is Sadahara O. And number 1 in home runs. This guy playing catcher is Nomura. And he's the number 2 home run king in Japan. And I already had this in my collection. So it blew my brain knowing that I had this incredible card in my collection. I had no idea who the other guy on the card was. And it just made the card I already own even more special. Like, I was just like thrilled out of my mind. Because every time I pick up a card of a different Hall of Famer in the Japanese league from my buddy Robert or anywhere else, I Google him, print out his Wikipedia, and I learn about him. Well, once I realized I had another card with him on it. So the guy in the front, home run champion O, and the guy in the back behind him, really special. So stoked. So just made another card extra special. So there's that. And then my next pickup, you guys watch my channel. This is all because of you, Adam. You know this. My entire life selling cards on eBay for 20 years, I learned that Mickey Mantle sold the best. And what I would do over the course of probably after the first like 6 years of selling cards on eBay, I realized the only cards I can actually sell on eBay and not get addicted to holding them were just base cards and just standard insert cards. And I learned that Mickey Mantle sells across the board. His base cards sell for $4 to $5 all day long. So over the years, I bought thousands and thousands, probably over 10,000 Mantle base cards. And what I didn't know at the time was that Topps used Mickey Mantle as card number 7 in the base set. The only Hall of Famer, the only retired player in their base set they used him in 1996, and then they skipped some years. I think they didn't have his license. And then they re-got his license in 2006 all the way to 2012. And I've been collecting all the rare cards that I have been selling the base cards of all these years because of you, Adam, because you were buying those base cards from me. And I'm like, who's buying these base cards? And you were getting them graded. And I'm like, it just got me thinking, like, why don't I try and find the rare copies of these cards? I probably have 50 of these, base cards, sold hundreds of them. And this is the printing plate from 2011. And this is Topps Series 1. This is the magenta 1 of 1. These were 1 in every 1,500 packs. And then you have to times 1,500 packs times 660 cards in the set. So astronomically difficult card to pull, and from one of the most famous sets in baseball history, in my opinion, because it's got the Trout and it's got some glorious cards in it. And this is the 1 of 1. This is the card that made every single card that I've been selling all these years. And I can't tell you guys enough how much the printing plates mean to me as a collector. As I opened these up back in the day, they blew my mind in the 2000s. And I never thought to really collect them. But now as I get them, knowing the history of they created the original cards, and there's only 4 of them, and not all of them look that good. You got to be particular on which ones you pick up. But some of them, just like this one, looks outstanding. And I'm having the absolute time of my life hunting them down. They're just, to me, they're just for the bang, for the buck, and for the scarcity. I'm the only one in the world that can own it. And it made all the other cards that exist of that card in that set. Just baffles my collecting brain. So yeah, I scored that just, like last month. So yeah, that's what I got for you.
I'm telling you, man, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but you started showing these printing plates on YouTube, Mickey Mantle printing plates. I'm starting to see more printing plates all over the place now on Instagram and some other people talking about, printing plates. So I don't know if it's just a coincidence or not, but you're always ahead of the game. First it was the centering, and then it was the Japanese cards, and now it's the printing plates. You got let me know before the next thing. Let me know ahead of time. I need to know about this stuff.
Dude, I have seen a lot of printing plates lately. I seen a guy the other day on Instagram, like he's trying to get all the Allen Ginter printing plates from 2006. I go, I've never seen a printing plate on Instagram for years, or
Right.
anywhere. And yeah, you're right. I don't think it has anything to do with me, but yeah, I've been collecting them for 2 years now of Jackie Robinson and Mickey Mantle. And I'm starting to see big guys collect printing plates. And I'm like, I'm telling you, man, like the proofs from back in the day were worth a fortune. These are, to me, better than proofs. I mean, these made the other cards, and there's no exception to it. There's only 4 different colors. They produced all the cards. So yeah, ultra special. Who knows if they're going to be worth anything more in the future, but as a collector, it's really special. So, okay, all that said, let's rock and roll into the topic of the night. I want to talk about, and it's not just eye appeal, guys. I know that gets beaten with a dead horse. I'm talking about stickers. So I know PWCC has always had stickers, and you get them for free if you send them cards even to this day. And they have to be cards worth over, I think, $200 to begin with. And they'll give you a free sticker if it's deserving. And back in the day, those cards would always, the PWCC auctions would always deem more money. And I bought a lot of cards back in the day from PWCC because they had tons of auctions going. And a lot of the ones I had bought had stickers on them. I didn't realize at the time that's why they were going for more, but they weren't astronomical more. They were like 10% more than other auctions that would go on. But what I did back in the day is I'd get the thing and I'd rip the sticker off the back. I'd rip the E off and I would keep the little tabs. So I have all the tabs, still. But I just took the thing off because I go, well, that's just so dumb. I got my own eyes. I got all that. But what I see going on now, it feels to me like a race to buy all the cards you could possibly buy that deserve the stickers. Because if you send a card to Mike Baker to get a sticker and it comes back with a gold label, and we can dive way into this because like they're giving gold labels out to PSA 10s, which to me is just the dumbest freaking thing in the world. But it's working on the market. It's tricking guys' brains. PSA 10s, pretty much all look the same, right? There are differences, but for God's sake, it's a PSA 10. If you give it a gold label, like how much brain power does it take to give a PSA 10 a gold label? And a PSA 9 getting gold labels. Like, come on now. We really need to be sending PSA 9s and 10s to get gold labels. Well, the market's telling otherwise. And so I wanted to talk to you on your thoughts. Have we gone too far? I know before I'm done talking, I'm going to take a couple opinions that I hear all the time. A lot of guys think that it's like, we're getting into like a sticky situation where a 4 is now worth more than a 5 or worth as much as a 6. I don't think it's a sticky situation. And I don't think we're going backwards in any way, shape, or form. I want to be clear to that point. I think the market is getting smarter. And I think the people buying cards are getting a lot smarter. And I saw a card yesterday. It was a 1950. You guys can look it up on eBay. 1956 Topps Hank Aaron PSA 4. It looks stunning. It was it had no sticker. Okay. And I go, I'm going to try and buy this card. It was at $400. I go, well, I think a normal 4 probably goes for 400. A normal 4, an everyday 4. And so I go, man, if I can get this for $500, I have a 5 that's dead centered, but it didn't look as good as this 4. So I go, well, I'm going to look. That thing went for over $800. Wow. So I don't know because I look up comps, but I bet you could buy an everyday 6 for $800 all day long. I don't care. I think that 4 was worth $800. I don't care that 4 is worth as much as a PSA 6. It doesn't break the system. Because we're making the system as collectors, as buyers. We're the ones that make the cards with more, not PSA. They might put the number on there, but we're the ones that assign the value to them as buyers. Somebody with using their own eyes, without a sticker approved, bought that card. And how I see it is the guy bought the card, A, because it's beautiful. B, that guy's probably going to send it to Greg Morris and get a gold label. Now, next time, does he sell that and he gets $1,200? The thing, that food for thought is, I always say every grade. So say it's worth as much as a 6. A 6, a low end 6 on VCP is worth, say, $600. If you average a high grade, say a perfect 6, that thing is going to go for astronomically more than $800. So that's where I don't see it being a sticky situation or like we've jumped the shark. I don't see that. So those are kind of my thoughts. I have more, but where's your take with this whole eye appeal, stickers, all that stuff?
Well, I think I've never been like real negative on the stickers or positive. I think it's good for a couple reasons. One, it was always good for online shopping, right? Like it's hard if you're like someone who wants to go after eye appeal cards or good for the grade cards, centered cards, especially with vintage, like we're talking about a lot. You can search eye appeal sticker cards on some of these platforms,
Yep.
So, but it's hard without something like that. It's hard to, you have to go through every single one, which takes a lot of time. So I think it is kind of a little hack, right? Because yes, we don't need people to tell us what's a good looking card, but if you're trying to search for one, and I'll tell you, I haven't seen too many of those sticker cards that don't look like I haven't come across too many of the sticker cards that I look at and I go, it shouldn't have gotten a sticker, or that one doesn't look nice. Most of them do look nice. Now, the whole like top 5% versus top 15%, I'm not sure on that. Like, I think they probably, when they created that whole system, maybe they overdid it a little bit, overcomplicated. Oh, this is got the sticker, but it's an E on it versus an S, like 5%, 15%. That's a little overboard for me. What PWCC did, and now Fanatics is still doing it. By the way, did you know that PWCC stood for pre-war card collector?
I never knew that today somewhere.
I heard that the other day. I was like, really? I had no idea about that. Sorry about the tangent, but that just stuck in my head. So I think it's good from that perspective. Like, if you're hunting really nice looking cards, you could search out cards that have the sticker. So that's always kind of cool. And, I think though it can be overdone, and maybe that's where we're heading with a lot of this stuff, but, I don't know. I don't have a lot of negativity towards the stickers because, again, no one's forcing people to send in cards for stickers, and they do it for free, right? Like PWCC, they never would charge for it. It's not like an extra service or anything. I think Mike Baker probably charges, right, for that stuff.
Yeah.
But PWCC and now Fanatics, when you send a card into their vault, they'll evaluate it for free and give it a sticker. I've had cards that I bought that I ended up sending there first, and they got a sticker. I didn't have to pay any more for it or anything. So it was cool, and someday when I sell those cards, maybe I'll get a premium because of the sticker. So we'll see. But you shouldn't have peeled those off. You should have kept those on there on those cards.
No, trust me. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So I'm like, first off, I think the PWC stickers are way better than Mike Baker's. I love the ES. I love the different categories because when I do come across those stickers, and I am a guy who will go on Fanatics site and click the button and look simply at the eye appeal versions. I have come across some that I don't think deem them, but those are Mike Baker's. The ones I've come across that don't deem them so far have been all Mike Baker's. Why? I think because they only have 3 tiers, gold, silver, and bronze, I believe. Or I like PWCC. I think they have more than 3 tiers. I think they have like 4. I like the 15% rule, 5%. To me, my brain wraps around. So tomato, you can disagree. I can agree here, agree there. Here's my problem. Here's kind of why I brought this up. So I think there's an opportunity. The opportunity is, I think the eye appeal thing is still going to continue. I think those lower grade stuffs continue to rise in value. The high eye appeal cards are going to continue to increase in value over the foreseeable future. I didn't know it was going to happen this fast. Like when I started collecting, I thought my time frame was like 5 to 10 years before collectors realized like centering's the way to go for tops. That's the hard thing. It's happened way faster than I thought. And for me as a buyer, this is what frustrates me, is that like I see this card the other day in a 456 tops Hank that looks cherry with no sticker, and I'm going, someone just spent $800, and I don't think they got a bad deal. It looked better than most 7s and 8s I see. Pretty much any 7s and 8s I see. I mean, they're like 7s and 8s can look really bad. I mean, not to bring it up, but I saw a mantle sell for $1 million on Instagram. That thing had a print line straight through the middle of the card.
That was gonna be my grinds my gears at the end. I might have to change it up now.
Off center to all be like.
I had a whole rant prepared for that.
Oh my God, $1 million. I've seen 4s that look astronomically nicer to my eyeball. Maybe a little bit of touching on the corners, but I'm not talking like rounded corners. 4s look perfect to the eyeball. Like the corners are just like till you get your scope out. I thought that 8 was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, $1 million for an ugly card.
Yeah.
I mean, would I take it for free? Yeah, but I wouldn't be
For
paying
free.
that.
Yeah.
give me 120 grand for a dead nut centered perfect eye appeal 4 all day long, or even 200 grand, 300. So I don't think it's gone too far. But me as a collector, things have gone too far for my wallet. And what's gone too far are the iconic cards. So me hunting, like, I have an example. A 1965 Topps Frank Robinson, dead freaking center, beautiful in a PSA 5, new cert. The thing looks like I just sent a 7 to PWCC that was slightly off-centered. Looks good. This thing looks better. I can still get this. I got this for $49. Okay. There's no, like, an ugly 5 sells for $49. A really good looking 5 sells for $49. If I did send this in and got a sticker, it'd probably sell for 125 or something. But what has changed is if I had a Mickey Mantle 1965 Topps, dead freaking centered, it now goes from if it was a 4, say it was a $700 card, now it's like a $1,300 card. Yeah. And so my brain is struggling to wrap my head around, not because I don't think it's worth that, because I just don't want to spend $1,400 on a 1965 Topps Mickey Mantle, period. It isn't that I think it's not worth it, but I don't want to buy a 6 that's ugly for the same price at all. I would still rather pay the big money for the good looking 4 or whatever in all grades. I want the best looking card, but I just can't wrap my head around now with this big gap between the big cards. So I have kind of gone off the rails, off the tracks. And by me saying that, I'm going to be sharing some cards in the future on my channel that I said, forget about centering. I'm going for forget about centering, man. On these,
what?
I just knocked off 4 cards on my 55 cards before I die list, all for the price of 1 card. That one card I could have spent that in 2 seconds. I went completely off the rails because I just don't. I'm having a really hard time spending the big money on these big iconic cards, and I really want them. So there is something for me to be said just owning the card. I'm pulling a Chris from Missouri, like, give me the card. I'm going for the best looking image on the front I can find for the cheapest possible price. So I've been saying it for a while. Like, everyone hates me pumping centering, talking about centering, and all they're going up. I'm complaining now. They're going up too fast, too furious. I think they have more room to run. I'm glad I bought the ones I did. But now I'm diverting course. I'm like, it's making the off-center ones so cheap on the bigger cards that I'm starting to go after those. But definitely still buying the ones that haven't, like, I just picked up a 1961 Topps Hank Aaron, dead centered in a 4. I paid like a $25 premium than a regular 4, like a mid-level 4. $25 premium, that's no problem. I would have paid $100 premium. But I wouldn't have paid a $300 premium. I wouldn't have paid double what the card's worth in any grade. So they haven't caught up. All the cards haven't caught up. So I'm finding myself going after all the other ones that aren't big cards. And the big ones, I'm just going, I'm done. I'm not going to look for a dead centered 53 Topps Mickey Mantle anymore. I'm going to find one that has a good image and just going to check the box off, and that's it. So
it's kind of like the PSA 10 premium, right? So like on the big cards, the very popular, high demanded cards, going for a centered version of that card is like going for a PSA 10 of a, like a modern popular card. Maybe it's not worth it, right? And we've deemed that for our collections for a lot of that with the grades. So okay, I find that very interesting. And you zigged, you zagged, now you're zigging again back, and then maybe you'll zag back. I like that. You're always a step ahead, Dylan.
I don't know if I'm a step ahead or I'm in my own head. So let me add one more thing. These cards that I'm buying that are off-centered, with good images, I'll show you. Well, I only have one in. I'm gonna do a whole video on it. I want to be clear. I actually don't think the cards that I'm buying, the iconic ones that I'm buying that are off-centered, not my normal specimens, I don't think those are going to go up in value at all on a comparison level to the dead centered copies. So when I'm buying them as a collector. I just want the freaking cards. So whereas before, it's a marriage, right? I wanted to buy all these cards because I have two birds to kill. I want them to be worth more in the future, and I want them to look beautiful and have the cards all together. Well, these ones, to be clear, I don't see a future where they're going to be worth any more than what the actual card is worth at the time. So say, I bought a 48 Stan Musial Leaf, a 49 Leaf. If that card itself goes up in value, this will tag along, but it's going to be tagging along at the lowest possible rate compared to if I took my time, found a dead centered, perfect front, perfect back, low grade or high grade, any grade. Those ones to me will still continue to rise. I'm buying cards, I'm zagging without the future value in mind. I'm basing the value off of the card itself. If the 53 Jackie I just picked up goes up in value, it certainly isn't going to be because the eye appeal of the one I purchased. It's going to be because the 53 Jackie went up. Whereas if you buy a perfectly center one, you take your time, you spend the extra money, those ones to me will continue to go up in value in the future and rise. I'm just not willing to pay the price on those at the moment. So my focus is going to be on the lower tiered cards with the perfect eye appeal and wait for that premium. And like you said, you brought up the PSA 10s. Like you can have, a 1987 Topps card of Jose Canseco in a PSA 10, say it's worth $100 and the 9's worth $50. But say you had a 1987 Bo Jackson in a PSA 10, say that's worth $300 to $500. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And then the 9 is worth $30. The premium doesn't make sense there, right? Because you're getting the same quality in the Jose Canseco, and the rarity is the same across both cards. They're from the same set, but you're paying for the Bo Jackson PSA 10 premium. And that's what these big iconic cards too, if that's making sense through my words.
If your goal is long-term collecting, if there's a lot of people now who are wanting to buy cards and then sell them a couple weeks later and make $50 or $100, in those cases, it might make sense to buy that PSA 10 for $400 and thinking, hey, I'll be able to sell this for $450 in 2 weeks at a show. Whereas if I bought a PSA 9, maybe I wouldn't be able to make $50. You know what I mean? So I understand, but if the goal is to buy cards that you want to hold on to for a long time, yes, absolutely. And I'm in the same camp as you. I do want to mention before we get into our rants, Dylan, you mentioned, I should have mentioned this earlier, but Turn Back the Clock is now exclusive to the Sports Card Clubhouse channel, right? We used to do it where it was one on my channel, one on your channel. Now we're just doing Clubhouse only. We're doing the podcast Clubhouse, Sports Card Clubhouse. And then we're going to be on the YouTube channel, Sports Card Clubhouse. We still have our own channel. So I want to mention Dylan, he mentioned he's going to be showing his pickups in the future. We have a little different audience over here. So if you don't already know about Double D Vintage Baseball cards and subscribe, go over to his channel and he'll be showing you the pickups he's talking about here in the near future.
Thank you, Adam.
All right. What do we want? We want to do these grind your gears, or what?
Yeah, let's do. We got time. Let's do grind our gears, man.
Okay.
Go ahead, Adam. I hope I didn't blow it for you.
No. So here's what I think I'm going to do. My grind my gear. What was going to be so there's a PSA 8 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle that's just sold. So it sold at, I think it was Fanatics in an auction like end of September for, it was like $1 million, something like that, $1,020,000. Right around there. And then the dealer who bought it, then I guess sold it to another broker who brokered it to someone else for, we don't know how much, but obviously it's more than that. Man, again, if the person who bought that is watching, probably not, but I apologize. But my opinion on that PSA 8 is, wow, that was one of the ugliest PSA 8s I've ever seen in my life. Print line right through the face, basically, right? Or it was like, I think it was on the
Totally
face,
straight through, like right here.
Print line, diamond cut, not great centering at all for a PSA 8. And again, some people don't, I guess, care about that. They're just buying that number. But I guess that was in my head today because I was looking at that card. I'm thinking, I was looking at some other PSA 8s of that same exact card that have sold. A PSA 8 will sell oftentimes a couple times a year at auction houses, and that was maybe one of the worst ones I've ever seen. And that sold at a pretty high price, not an all-time high or anything, but it just goes to show you that people are still buying the grade heavily. We talked about eye appeal. People are paying up for eye appeal, but there's still a big portion of the hobby that just pays for that number on the slab.
Well, let me also say that the hobby's learned a great deal, has come a long way, because that exact same card sold, from what I heard, for $1.3 million before a few years ago.
Yep.
So when we're in a boom right now, like if you took a PSA 4 dead nut centered and purchased that 3 years ago and you sold that today, that PSA 4 has gone up at least 20 grand. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's gone up astronomical if it's a cherry looking. So the hobby's learning, and these high grades, the future could be different. And you touched on something that grinds my gears, is like, there's a big difference between dealers buying cards and collectors buying cards. Dealers are trying to move cards as fast as possible. And what's moving? They buy the high grade because they can sell the high grade right away to the next blind guy that comes along.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think that was the ugliest 8 I've ever seen. I actually think eights are the older 8s are notorious for print lines, notorious for off-centered. 7, same thing, notorious. Like 8s, I heard it best said by Carlisle. I had an 8OC, I was a huge 8OC top to bottom guy, because nobody wanted that thing. You get them for nothing. And he goes, 8OCs are 10s off-centered. And I go, you're totally right. And 8s can be 10s off-centered as well, except they have print lines. They love the print lines back in the day. They give those 8s all day long. All right, so are you done grinding your gears? Or
yeah, actually, I think we should do this every episode. Another grind your gear. My next grind my gear, I already have it in my head. It's a non-hobby sort of grind my gear. So it's I'm already ready for the next one. But yeah, you go on this one.
No. You ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'll just go with that one for this episode. My next episode, I'll use my other one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, mine kind of sticks along the same theme. Like, nothing makes me more fired up when, and everybody does, everyone says this, and it's just like, if you're an investor, if you're investing, buy the high grade. I'm so sick. I've been sick of people saying that since I got on YouTube. Buy the high grade is the best investment. Oh man, it is not the best investment. It's proving itself right now. You buy the best looking card in any grade. The grade means nothing. Whatever money you have, buy the best looking card in any grade, and that will rise in the future. It's proving itself out right now. The best looking 4s, I just say 4s because it's kind of like, those are kind of like cream. Like, for whatever reason, 4s and 5s are like buttery. Mm-hmm. Those best looking examples have gone up way more than the high grade counterparts over the last 3 years. They absolutely have. Do I have Card Ladder here to prove it? No. Why? Because you can't even do that. You'd have to search thousands of cards to look for those dead nut centered ones to see if they've gone in value. I know, just because I'm in the hobby and I watch cards sell all day long. I can see it. So stop saying it. I'm sick of guys brainwashing people to say high grades are the only investment. Low grades can be investments to any grade, not even low grades. If you buy high grades, buy the best looking high grade. Those will continue to rise. If you buy a 9, please make sure it's dead centered. Everything else should be cherry. Just make sure it's centered. If it's not, don't touch that 9 to the 100-foot pole. You know, if you're buying an 8, make sure it's centered.
But didn't Mr. Jeff Wilson came out and he said he had all these numbers, right? Like he said he had statistics showing that the PSA 10s go up higher or have gone up higher percentage wise than the other grades. Is that just for certain cards, you think?
No, I cannot deny the fact that high grades went up in the past. And they skyrocketed over the past. The past isn't the future. The future is different in this hobby. This hobby changes a lot. We've gone through a lot of morphs in this hobby. And eye appeal, I know it's been around forever. You guys yelling at me, eye appeal's been a thing forever. I get it. Strict centering eye appeal for tops has not been around in most collectors' brains forever. Maybe the select few. Maybe. But even Dr. Beckett said not too long ago in a podcast this last couple months that he thinks the centering, the eye appeal movement will continue to be what goes up the most in the future, will continue to be the forefront of the future. And those high grade stuff, those guys, like even me, I put myself in that category, buying the 7s back in the day. You know, that was a great move back in the day. But the great move today is to unload all those ugly high grade old certs right now while you still can.
Well, to what you're saying, when you were saying that, it made me think. I took a screenshot. I'll say what it says, but I took a screenshot on my phone of a Instagram story. If you don't follow MK Sports Cards on Instagram, I highly recommend you follow that. I think it's a guy, right? Usually it's a guy in this hobby, but I don't know the person, but I follow MK Sports Cards. I really enjoy the content they put out, and this is what they posted. I'm going to say this is what he posted. Alert: if more than 75% of the value of your card is tied to the grade, then you should be selling that card right now. And he has been saying stuff like this for a while now, where he thinks with AI coming and all this stuff that if the goal of your collecting or your investing or whatever it is, if you're buying cards with the hope that they'll go up big time in value, at least his opinion is that don't buy don't look at the high grade, right? Like only don't let that be the deciding factor. And that's what he says. If more than 75% of the value of the card is just because of the grade, he doesn't believe that that's a card that's going to continue to go up. Even if it has, to Jeff Wilson's point, maybe it has over the last period of time, doesn't mean it's going to in the future. It's not going to necessarily repeat itself maybe. So I thought of that.
Mangini, I got to give credit to John Mangini because, you know, I think for me, he was the first one that I heard say that. The value should be in the card itself.
Right.
That's where the value should be in our cards. And I know the modern hobby is learned that during that last bit, you know, the crash we had, you know, they learned that these common base cards in 10s aren't the way to go. The value should be in the card itself, should be in the low numbers, should be in the good looking vintage. Well said by that guy. And it's going to continue that way. And anyone beating the drum the opposite direction, have at it. I think that drum's going to be beat and broken before this, you know, in the next 10 years. And I still want to just say that the good looking high grades are continue to hold their ground and they're not going to go to zero. Just buy the good looking example in any grade. Last thing, I know we're coming to an hour here, Adam. I want to make sure, again, to clarify, these are our opinions. These are our thoughts. If you disagree, put them in the comments. If you disagree, you have your own brain. Use it. You go after the cards you want. Go after that stuff you want. If you want to go after the high grades and completely disagree with me, it's fantastic. It's your prerogative. But I'm on here, Adam's on here, expressing our own opinions because that's what we have in this hobby, and that's what makes it fun. And whether we're right or wrong in the future is going to tell us. So there's our caveat.
And
Adam, want to add to the show.
My last thing I want to say is if you're catching this on the Sports Card Clubhouse on YouTube and you'd like to be able to watch or listen to it a few days ahead of time, make sure you go to Spotify or Apple and download, subscribe, follow the Sports Card Clubhouse podcast, because all our episodes and every other episode that goes out on that feed goes out there first before it goes out on YouTube. So that's it, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay. We'll catch you guys later. You.